Privyest, everybody. Welcome to Drawn to Us, a podcast with a profile picture drawn by us, where we draw ideas from us to draw you in.
Oh, there we go. Finally.
It was sketchy in the beginning, but
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
heard
Because I said Privyest, which is Russian for hi.
I mean after that. But okay.
Oh, yeah.
So what's going on?
There's a lot going on. I think I'd like you guys to go first so I can get a general update on what y'all been up to. Then I'll talk a bit, just a wee bit.
sure.
Okay.
I mean, let's have Impy lead the flagship today. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
come on now.
flagging P. I mean, he was late last time. He should be early now. Go ahead.
exactly.
Yes, I agree. As far as weeks, this is the first week.
Hold up. You
Wait,
agree?
what?
I'll have to disagree. I'll have to disagree if you agree. But move on.
What if I disagree about you disagreeing?
I simply cannot allow that. I could complicatedly, but I don't.
I suppose my week hasn't been that bad.
Cool. Go ahead.
I know it's been the first week where I've gotten 40 hours since the summer.
40 hours.
Or no, since the winter. 40-hour work weeks, you know? So I've worked 40 hours this week. Yeah. And it's the first time it's happened since the winter started. So it's been
You did
fun.
mention that one was crazy busy.
The winter?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Because
winter.
it usually softens up a bit, which is odd.
We usually have no work for like end of December, January, February, and most of March. Just because landscaping is a seasonal thing. But we had work all summer, and thanks to summer.
You're welcome.
And this was the first week of actually working every single day, and man, it was hard because I'm blah 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 and work and scheduling things and getting back into the groove of things, and yeah. And as far as what's happening today I'm going out with some friends and we're gonna do a thing, and then we're gonna go to Fogo de Chao, which is a restaurant. Fogo de Chao. It's a restaurant. It's an all-you-can-eat Brazilian steakhouse.
Just be careful. Even if it's tasty food, you should remember and never forget to chow. Because if you forgot to chow, it's pretty bad for your stomach.
I agree. If I did not chow there, I would be sorely afraid of myself. Because, man. But, like, so we're going to eat all-you-can-eat steak cooked by professionals for an hour. It's going to be great.
Sounds like the stakes are going to be high.
Oh goodness!
High Christ!
I've never heard of all you can eat steakhouses. Christ Almighty! I mean, America.
Yeah.
You know?
There's, I don't know how many of these there. It's a single franchise, Fogo de Chao. So I don't know how many there are across America, but I know there aren't any in Canada. There's a couple in Puerto Rico and like Brazil, but it's really just a few in America. And yeah, you pay $60 to get in, and you eat
filthy expensive.
You just eat steak.
until you're full. Yeah, and you guys know what Wagyu is?
Yeah, like I've worked at a Wagyu farm.
Really?
Oh,
have you eaten some?
No, it's expensive shit.
Yeah, it's an extra $125 if you want some of that added to your all you can eat. I'm very tempted.
I mean, honestly though, I feel like people should never shirk expenses on two things, which is travel and food, you know? I feel like
I disagree thoroughly.
Oh, you do?
We know you disagree. Shut up, Summer. Let Heck talk.
You know, I will let him talk.
Well, temporarily, before I school him in like 5 minutes.
School him? Oh, do you guys know what this episode is about?
Oh, yeesh, yeah, boy.
Yes.
Nice segue into today's episode, eh?
Go ahead.
God, I slipped into a bit of a weird accent at the end there. Segue today's episode, eh? It's the disease, it's the illness. It's doing strange things to me.
Not again.
Where was I? I literally have like the focus of like a 12-year-old right now.
Yeah.
You shouldn't
yeah,
shirk on
Yeah,
food
I
and
mean,
travel.
come on, guys. Food and like travel, those are like the bare necessities of like enjoying a good life. You know?
I hear sleep is also really useful.
You know what? I don't. I don't.
No, it's pretty important. But how much money do you need to spend on sleep?
Well, nothing.
Yeah,
Right?
not
You do kind of need a place to sleep because you don't want to sleep on the floor most of the time. Most people don't. And then you need a nice mattress to wash all the stuff.
sounds like Japan would have a problem with what you're saying right now.
No, please. Like
Yeah,
most of China.
No, they also lay out futons. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember once my aunt invited me and my family to be like, hey, you want to stay at like my nice summer house in the countryside in like China? And I was like, oh my God, yes, we would. And we got there and they had no beds and no
Sounds
futons.
pretty bad. No.
It was just the floor. It was just like the wooden floor, and then you lie down and sleep.
Okay,
And
so
that
you
was
were
it.
floored at that experience.
I was I don't know, how do you call it? I was scoliosified by that experience.
So here's the thing: you can't say it was a bad experience though, because it was literally a no bad experience.
Close
Oh
enough.
my
I'll give that to you.
sakes.
I'll give that to
Thank
you.
you. I have two questions to give to you, MP. The first one:
Okay.
what are you guys doing before you go eat steak? And the other one: what did you do yesterday?
Okay. What we're doing before is Top Golf. I believe I've mentioned that before. I don't know if I've done it on the podcast, but it's like a type of driving range for golf. You all know what golf is, right?
Yes,
Golf.
my grandparents
I
play.
have heard of it.
Yes, it's an all-person scheme. But anyway, Top Golf, you go into a building and then your party has their own little section where you can hit the golf balls into a big field with a bunch of targets.
I've
Bunch of
seen that.
targets drawn in it. Yeah. It's quite fun. And yeah.
It sounds fun. It's very enthusiastic. little
It
thing
only
you've got
reminds me
going.
of curdling, I think.
Curdling. Like that
Curdling of milk?
Yeah.
No.
Curdling's in way?
The sport where you slide
Curling.
your iron
Oh no.
spheres over ice in order to hit the target, and you can hit the other ones away. The closer you get, the better you are.
Hooky?
No, not hockey.
Shot put? No, not shot put.
It's curling.
Never
It is
mind, no.
curling.
It is curling?
Yeah,
Ha.
it's the Canadian sport, curling.
Okay. Because I know my grandmother plays that at her nursing home, her old people's home.
It's an old people scheme again.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, it's golf, but it's way bigger field. I mean, the similarities are that there is movement. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's targets. But how did you get into golf
Essentially.
anyway?
I'm not particularly into golf, but Top Golf is pretty fun. This is
Say
my
the top golf game you can play.
I don't know, Wii Sports golf. That's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy that one. But anyway, yeah, Top Golf. My second time going, and it should be quite fun. I know it don't sound enthusiastic, but I'm looking forward to it.
You rarely do. Do you have a lot of contact to your grandma?
A few times a year we'll see her.
Cool. Try to keep it out of these next few months. Remind everybody, there is a dangerous, uncurable disease going around. Killing old people.
It is curable, though. Don't worry about it too much.
Uncurable as in we don't have the means right now. It's nothing
have
dangerous if you do basic healthcare. Not healthcare. Basic hygiene, that's the word.
Yeah, Canada's already got the vaccine going. It'll be out soon.
Yeah, it has a
You
high
go, Canada.
recovery rate.
I thought they only isolated the strain right now. Are they already working on a vaccine?
They're moving fast. That's all I know.
All I heard was that people in Germany, scientists in Germany, were working on a vaccine, and Donald Trump tried to buy the exclusive rights or something. And Everybody was like, "Hold on, you're
Could you
doing
not?
what?"
Okay.
Wow.
Talking about doing what did you do? Heck, you're back in Finland, one hears.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was back in Finland for a little bit to visit some friends, and Finland is a really nice cold country, so I did the fun little thing, which is called you open the window because it gets too warm inside, and then you leave it open, and it gets really cold, and then you wake up feeling like you have a cold, and then you realize how much of an inconvenient time it is to get a cold right now. And
Yeah.
That sounds like a weirdly fun thing to do. So you've described how it's called. Now, what does it do? How does one go about doing this?
doing what?
Well, the action you've just described very accurately with a word.
Ah,
I just wonder what it refers to.
me being stupid.
Oh, okay.
I'm as confused as heck right now.
Oh, yes! Give us the puns.
Oh boy. Well, I mean,
We-
I didn't do much this week, right? It's been mostly like lack of sleep and trying to cope with the fact that, hey, did I book my flight early enough back, or am I going to be stuck in this country because they were going to close all borders?
Oh,
Yeah, that was really
yeah.
fun. I
Ooh.
mean, I did make it back on time now, running on like 2 hours of sleep. It's all good. It's great. I'm going to be
Oh,
very
you're
like
that's good to hear.
I'm going to be very confused throughout this podcast. You guys are just going to talk. I'm going to be in the background.
You're gonna be talking as if this was something unusual.
I swear to God, Summer, I
Oh.
will throw you off
Well,
a
look,
bridge.
On a purely objective basis, can you really disagree?
Listen, you know what? If you want to talk about my performances in podcasts, why don't we talk about last week's fun little performance we had? Because that was nice, wasn't it?
Tyler?
Like, I don't know if anybody's gonna listen to this, but anyway, yeah. See, when I came in and you guys were arguing, I was like, this is suspicious at first. You guys did well the rest of the podcast, and then you convinced me. But when I popped in, I was like, so what's going on here? I was, 50-50 on if you guys were joking or Summer was acting or something like that. But you guys got me by pretending to be in a fight. It was good.
Yeah, Summer just kept extending it. I was like, are we going to stop? I don't want to hurt poor Imperfect over here. Summer just kept going. I was like, all right, sure. Let's just keep the charades going,
Guys,
And-
first rule of improv, you keep going.
It was, oh boy, I mean, it was fun though. Did you feel bad? Were you worried? It was great.
Me, I was more along the lines of,
Annoyed.
wow, if this is going to continue to happen, then goodbye podcast.
Whoa, hold up.
Yeah, you should title
It
that
wasn't that
title the
bad.
episode "Impy Almost Quit." Quitting the show. There you go.
Not clickbait.
Not clickbait.
Of course not clickbait. All right.
Mhm.
So thank you all for sharing about your weeks. Shall we move on to the episode now?
I mean,
Shall-
poor Summer. What about your week?
Yeah, shall we move on to your week?
Okay, let me pull up my diary.
Oh boy, you know what?
I remember anything from Wednesday. I remember Tuesday. I don't Monday. Oh no, I remember the entire week. Good. I've gotten back to Monday. So Monday started out fairly regularly with uni and all that. Us getting more and more to do every week because they just kept increasing the workload, and I had no idea when they were planning to stop. So yeah, Monday was pretty busy. I was at uni from 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. And then I had chess club from 6 in the evening till 8. And I just spent the evening at a what's it called, flat in town because I did not want to bother riding a train home. Oh no, a tram home. Because here's the thing, like 89% of the time I use my bicycle to get around, especially when it's raining. Don't do this, kids. It's dangerous. Unless you know what you're doing, which I am, okay? I'm taking the safe routes. About my bicycle, unfortunately, is I think next month it'll be about 10 years old.
Oh boy.
So it's got a few scratches, and I had to let my back tire be replaced because it was just permanently getting stuck on the brakes. So I didn't have access to my bicycle, and I did not feel like riding public transport for an hour and a half to get home. So I spent
Ooh.
Monday to Tuesday in town. Unfortunately, I got a wee cold because the room I was staying over was not the warmest, and there was already someone with a cough there. It's just a regular cold, don't worry. So yeah, it was Monday to Tuesday, and Tuesday at 8:30, we have our next class, and throughout Tuesday, it is actually fairly relaxed because I managed to screw up one of the afternoon classes, and what we have to do in our physics studies is we get these homework sheets, which you can imagine as kind of a small exam that you have to do once per week at home, right?
Yeah.
And we have then to present them in a special class and get grades and get a certain sum of points to be able to pass on to the next semester. Now, mine was 15 minutes after. So my presentation class started 15 minutes after the last class before it ended. And usually that wouldn't be a problem because with my bicycle, I'm from the one uni place to the other one takes me about 5 minutes, maybe 7. Now, without a bicycle, it took me 20 minutes of running, which is not something I can recommend, guys. It's really exhausting. But I barely got in the nick of time. The first topic was already being presented, but since this was the first ever class we had in this particular subject, they didn't mind too much. And one more thing about these homework sheets. So usually for this class, we get 6 problems per week. The first 5 are regular ones, and they're doable. And then there's one more, the last one, which it takes a bit more effort according to our university. Therefore, is worth more points, and you just have to present it really well. Now, on Monday, we usually start a bit later. We usually start at 10. For this week, we had a tutor activity for our very specific class, and they did manage to cover the important and hard homework problem, right? So it was something about functions, nothing too fancy. Just imagine this: one of the issues was sketching out a solution, so visually representing a function that does certain stuff. Now, what everyone in the entire semester did is they sketched out a 2D plane, and then the point 0, 0 was represented by the point 0, 0, 1. That's the only one that gets the value 1, and that's all you need to know for now. And our tutor told us this would have worked, and since he is also a professor in the class, he also told us this will not be accepted at the homework presentation. That's something different, right? So yeah, that's pretty nice. I got Tuesday morning to get a different solution because the entire Monday was spent on other classes. Fun. Tuesday afternoon, I'm rushing into class, sitting down, just breathing, panting heavily, slumping onto my chair to get some of my energy back, and then also paying attention. Of course, you need to pay attention. Then the last problem comes up. I have managed not to do anything. Of course, I'm called out for the last problem. Unfortunately, I do manage to get by with my ideas. First of all, representing the wrong thing, then telling everybody it's wrong, because not everyone was at the tutoring class, why it's wrong, as in our professor told us not to. And then finally, I've managed to stumble upon the right solution on Tuesday morning. So yeah, Tuesday afternoon was pretty packed. And after that class, I fortunately didn't have any more university scheduled. So what I did do is I got back home, got my bicycle back. So now I'm again in possession of one, which is pretty neat. And I spent about an hour at home reading a bit, preparing for the rest of the day, packing my stuff and eating. And I had to rush out again because I had to be in time for my taekwondo class. And I, for some reason, calculated the time as the one I'd need to take with public transport, which is an hour, instead of the one it takes with my bicycle, which is 20 minutes to half an hour. So I was there super early, which is good. It is a good thing because I managed to get into our town's library. and wrote a bunch of books, which I've started reading. So these books are a bit of philosophy, Nietzsche, Kant, and one book that's a retelling of Russian fables, which I fancy quite a lot for now. Because I don't know what I've mentioned this, but I've started learning Russian recently, and it is a gorgeous language. Fight me in this.
Hey,
So, yeah.
my sister's learning Russian.
Oh, she is really at school, or how old is she?
She is 16. So my parents have gone on, or my parents and rest of my younger siblings have gone on 2 mission trips to Ukraine in the past 2 years. And my sister is very interested in going back to Ukraine. And one of the things she was told if she wants to learn Ukrainian is learn Russian first, because Ukrainian is just a
Diluted?
dialect. A dialect of Russian,
yeah.
something like that. Ukrainian is basically just Russian with different stuff. So someone told her to learn Russian first, so she's been learning Russian for the past 6 to 8 months. Yeah.
So she's learning it on her own, or does she get support?
Yeah, no, she's got. I believe she has Duolingo, and maybe some other stuff.
There is a website or a tutorial video series which I can called. Can you guys? I'm cutting out again. There's a series called Real Russian Club, which is absolutely for free, which is why I'm taking it. And it has helped me. So far, I know the alphabet, and I think about 20 to 30 words, which is pretty good considering I'm 2 weeks in. I'll still have to do more. So, yeah. Also, your family does missions?
Mission trips. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like secret agents.
Converting the I'm thinking right now a mission trip is. Pardon the interruption.
What? So the couple I've done is going and helping people build their buildings, go and helping, like giving out clothes and stuff to orphanages and like mental hospitals, stuff like that. And what they did in Ukraine was they were helping run a week-long. It's called a vacation Bible school, but it's like you go in and you learn.
So that kind of mission,
stuff.
The Jesus.
Yeah, no, we're not doing secret missions for America. No.
No, I was aware of what kind of mission. I was just curious as to how your family got into it and how long you've been doing it for. Also, how did you like the Ukraine?
I did not go. I had to stay and run the business. Yeah.
Oh, yes, the business. Using the big words now, are we?
Run business. Me do good.
Yes, I've gone through the figures again, and the tables just clearly show that our percentage is unwithstandable at this point. We have analyzed the data.
So anyway, mission trips are highly encouraged in all the churches we've been to, and my family being a biblical family, my parents do put an emphasis on going out to other countries that aren't yours and doing what we can to help.
But only in countries that aren't yours, because America is great again.
No, we help in ours too. So yeah, take that. We help in every country.
Take that. Who are you addressing?
Do you guys also do help in Brunei?
Brunei. No.
So it's not every country then. You're a hypocrite.
I lied. I admit it. But no, my dad, right after the earthquake in Haiti, like a decade ago or whatever, my dad had taken like 5 trips over there to help with an organization. They would send him out. And,
I'm presuming he's not just flying over there as a private person throwing bundles of cash at people.
No. My dad did a bunch of mission trips to Ukraine. My mother's done Israel, done Jamaica, places in America, Ukraine, some other places that I don't remember. Sisters in Uganda. Ooh. Yeah. But anyway, we've just done mission trips for a long time.
You know, you could potentially do a mission trip to Europe once, and come over and visit, and we can do an in-person podcast.
Yeah, your family can be completely shocked at the way I treat religion, and
No, they cannot, and we'll handle that once we get to our episode.
Let's see. Nah, you're a pagan anyway.
Exactly.
I say that like it's bad, but it's just a word. Just being
Words are bad.
Not believing. Anyway, I'm not aware of any mission opportunities in Europe at the moment.
They'll come up eventually.
Yeah, my church is specifically, we're sending, there's a missionary in Peru. There's some in countries that are not allowed to have mission people, and a couple other countries. Yeah. I'm being vague, but...
Yeah. No secret missions at all. I know what you mean. Let's rush through the rest of my week, and then...
yes, please rush very quickly.
Alright, Tuesday afternoon, we get a substitute class.
We're still on Tuesday afternoon.
Yes, we're still on Tuesday afternoon. Computer class tells us unit's going to be closed from Wednesday onwards. Tuesday evening, I do Taekwondo. I confirm that I'll have to do children's training on Wednesday. Wednesday, I take my Python exam from home because the unit's closed. The unit's closed for the till Easter. Schools are closing on Monday. I'm doing the children's Taekwondo classes. I'm suggested to do the Taekwondo classes on next Monday, which is tomorrow. I'm not doing those classes because Taekwondo has to quit due to coronavirus. Wednesday onwards, our country is shutting down more and more.
Ouch.
Yesterday, we heard that we are no longer allowed to leave our homes except for 3 specific purposes. Well, there's 4 of them, but the purposes for which we are allowed to wander free town are, first of all, getting supplies. Second of all, helping people get supplies who can't do it on their own. Third of all, being a doctor or a public healthcare worker who is necessary for the function of our country. Anything else is cancelled. So yes, our country is in complete lockdown. We basically have a curfew. The last thing you can still do is you can go on walks, because being crammed into your room for 2 weeks, up to 2 months, is not bearable, but you can't do it with anyone except your family, or you're on your own. So yeah, that's how my weekend went. Fortunately, this thing technically only goes into effect tomorrow, so I've had one last chance to see my significant other before the weekend starts, which is pretty nice. And as for the rest of my week, I have been reading Kant's categorical imperative, and I've just been reading Kant, and he's a genius. Going back to church, your church seems oddly involved, or not oddly, seems involved in a lot of things, and I've been wondering, are they involved in your homeschooling as well, or were they involved? Pardon me.
Good segue.
Indeed.
Sorry.
So let's see. I would not say my church is oddly involved or highly involved in missions. It's a normal thing for most healthy churches to support a couple missionaries at least, and be involved in a few, if not more than a few, to be involved in at least a few community outreach, all that stuff. But anyway, as far as homeschooling, no, not at my church. I know we know a family that does that. Their church is involved in their homeschooling, and they have a co-op at a church somewhere, but not my church, as far as I know.
So let us firstly presume this co-op involved a particular suite known as État. In this case, we could classify it as co-op de État. Thanks for listening. That is all. You are dismissed. So going back to your sister, is she also homeschooled?
All siblings younger than me are homeschooled. So I have Jordan, Aaron, 4 younger siblings. Yeah. 4 younger siblings.
No, just let me remember, how many do I have now?
Yeah, well, who are these people who come to dinner every night?
It's hard sometimes. Like, yeah, so 4 younger siblings, and I was in a private school until 4th grade, and sister, a private school until 4th grade or something like that.
All right.
Yeah, and then the sister under me was
executed.
until first grade or something.
Okay.
I think, whatever. But then the rest of us we had preschool. There's a church near us that does a preschool, and
nice.
then yeah, it's pretty nice. But after that, we were all homeschooled.
What made your parents decide to homeschool all of their children? Or one and then keep going with it?
I've asked him that. Partially, it saves money.
It does?
Because part of it is that sending us to public school, this is where it gets
Weird.
no, not
Iffy.
weird.
Illegal. Illegal. That's the word. Illegal.
Man, I forgot the word. It's not conservative. It could be conservative. Well, but anyway, public schools are trashy, which I agree with. Putting a bunch of teenagers together in a school and middle schoolers, putting them all in a room together and then telling them to just socialize with each other. It teaches them how to socialize and then how to become each other. And then
I beg your pardon.
And then it leads to
clothing and impersonation. Can I ever?
That is a really impressive public school system.
And then it leads. All it does is lead to Fortnite dances and TikTok. And can we all agree that if public school led to that, then we need to abolish public school?
Yeah, I feel like that's a great argument.
I can confirm that it is indeed internet and youth culture that leads to this. Also, we're all old men now, apparently, because we're all bitching about the youth of today.
I've been bitching about the youth.
Don't get me wrong, they absolutely do deserve it, but we're old.
I've been doing that since I was younger than them.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from, MP. I mean, I'd phrase it differently than than the root is of all evil, TikTok and Fortnite. But I mean, yeah. But I can tell you, it's not any better in private schools, right? You just have the same douchebags, but now they have money, so it's not like.
Tell us about private schools, Heck.
Oh,
nice segue. Tell us about your entire school experience, because I know you've had a lot of them, and there have been interesting.
This is so unfair because I could talk about this in so much depth, and
go ahead.
For so long. But I'm so tired as well. So God picked this day, to strike me down, so I could,
You're calling summer God.
Well,
wow.
I mean, Impy.
Well, here's the thing: we can get into the discussion of qualifies someone or something as a god. I would, of course, love to do this, but only after Heck recounts his story, because otherwise he's going to fall asleep halfway through.
Probably. I'm already struggling. Okay.
I'm struggling.
Shush. I mean, private school. What stories can I tell, right? I mean, the easiest way to summarize it is...
Not even what's the worst that happened. What's the worst that I can still tell?
Yeah, I mean, Christ, there's so many stories.
I know.
I mean, the easiest way to summarize it is like, there's nobody to go to, right? Like, you can't go to your parents because you tell them how bad school is, and they just think, it's a private school. How bad can it be, right? And you can't go to your teachers because they don't care about you because they're criminally underpaid and also completely uneducated. Then you can't go to your fellow students either because they're a bunch of
trash.
Yeah, and I don't mean that as
too.
I was the outsider. They're a bunch of douchebags. I mean, like, even since like a very young age, all they ever did was promote like the worst kind of like social environment you could possibly have. It's like you make one mistake and then you get beaten from all sides, verbally, and then like even apparently also physically. I didn't even know this was going on when I went to school, right? And it harbored, for somebody like me who came fresh off like a different school, like a young kids, everybody's friends kind of school, to be thrown into that environment. I was like, oh my God, I was caught completely off guard, and it turned me into this disgusting, like, misformed, like, eldritch, freaking, like,
can confirm
thing, and all I did all day was go to school, crap on people so they wouldn't crap on me, go home, tell my parents that I didn't like school, have them be like, haha, and then go to
Haha, you don't like school.
And
School also don't like you.
and repeat for like 8 years on end. It is harrowing. It is still harrowing. I mean, why do people think I go to therapy? This is the reason.
I will disagree by drowning.
I will disagree by drowning. Christ.
No, I will disagree with the fact that you've been turned into a disgusting eldritch creature of unknowable horror.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, you're a pretty cool guy.
Oh. But I mean, we can also get into more specific examples, I suppose, right? I mean, I think
do we want to talk about specifics here, or do we talk about ideas and school systems?
Idea.
Well, sure. Let's get into personal stories later, I guess.
I'd say we can do both, but I'd get into the personal stories first.
Oh, you would?
What's your point for doing it later?
Oh, well, I thought, that's a little bit of a teasy thing, I mean, that's the highlight of these podcasts anyways. After they hear my story, they're gonna clock out.
Yes.
It's the most popular.
Stories make for great advertisement.
Yeah. What can I say?
Tyler, your call. What do you say about this all? What first? Should we do both?
See, so Heck has already gone off on a couple other podcasts about school. Yes. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that here, but it's going to happen again and again and again and again, and probably again. So we can totally do it here, but we do run the risk of just hearing it again and again and again and again in future podcasts.
And what happens after we hear it again and again? I didn't quite catch the third word. What was it?
I was trying to think of a synonym. I can't. Sucks to be you.
Time
again.
Okay, so here's a deal for Heck.
Yes.
You get to talk all you want and bitch about the entire school system today, and then in the later podcast you'll be a bit more refined. That is, we'll call you out. Because
can you do that, Heck? Can you hold it back?
Can you be called out by us?
No.
In that case, you'll be hauled out by us, or as I like to say, yeeted.
Oh, for goodness sakes! I did have a really similar conversation in school just yesterday, actually. I think
about yeeting people.
Well, no, I have those conversations every day. But no, it was such a glorious. I did discuss school systems and such, and the best part is, no matter how detailed and how intricate my arguments were, I don't remember any of them.
You'll think of them eventually, and you'll blurt them out halfway digested because you don't remember part.
Yeah, probably.
So let's talk school systems. First of all, I personally believe the general idea and concept of a school is something incredibly valuable, and we should all support it and try to get the best system we can.
See, when you say school, the first image that pops into my mind is the public school system put on by the government, where a bunch of kids go into a building and they each have their classes and they learn from one teacher. But there are a bunch of different types of schooling, is there not?
Yes, there is.
That's a fun argument, right? Because the argument I keep hearing repeated is that our school systems are completely outdated because they were instated during the times of Industrial Revolution. So they are more so guided towards creating people of the same cut, so they could be more easily.
Who of you has said this? I think it was Tyler who said this today. Yes, you did. You talked about public schools, and you put a bunch of children into the same classroom, tell them to socialize, and essentially you make them into each other, right? That's what a school system is supposed to do. Heck,
kinda.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm trying to say as well, right? But even worse than that, even worse than the fact that we do not promote individuality, in this society where clearly, being an individual is, I swear to God, is more valuable than being a factory worker, is that we do not promote any sense of community within school systems anymore. What we promote...
Is that the message you want to send with the podcast, or is something...
I want everybody to know this, right? Because it is something that you only notice when it's pointed out, right? We have no community in school systems anymore. It's all a competition. It's who gets the best grades, who gets on like whatever leaderboard they have, who gets this. And you can see this like obviously a little more veiled in Western schools. The competition is more so unspoken. It's there between students. When one person gets bad grades, then they immediately feel bad, if they get something worse than their peers. But especially in like more Eastern schools, Asian schools, you literally have a scoreboard, a public scoreboard on display that shows you where you ranked in your exams compared to other people. And it's completely like counterintuitive. Why would we promote competition instead of community? The whole point is that we lift each other up and help each other and learn together,
Yeah, learning is a social thing. We've done psychology on that.
It is, but with this competition, it is the underlying thought, the subconscious thought that you want to win and that you want to be the best. And when you want to be the best, you wouldn't help your competition, would you? It's poisoning our schools, and it's poisoning the way we interact with each other. Yeah, and it's completely garbage, and I really don't stand for it. If I ever get the opportunity to become a professor, I'll take it a step further. I will go and see if I can, change school systems. I want to, open up my own schools and stuff like that, because I've seen this over and over again. And it's not changing. And no matter how much you speak up, even as a child or as a student, as long as you are in that system, you can't do anything.
It's the same everywhere in the system. Just a short point. You're not going to be able to change the school system as a teacher, neither as a head of school, neither as a head of all schools in your district, neither as a politician. Maybe as a politician, but in that case, you need to make such large cutoffs, because this goes into the keys of power theory, which we'll get later on. But the main thing is, politicians don't have as much power as they seem to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, I mean, I hope that like if we can inform enough people, over time, it will become like a movement thing. I mean, obviously, one person can never change something as large as this established system, but over time,
funnily enough, they can.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, I think it is possible to create a revolution as an individual.
One person can be a linchpin for it.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely.
Acting by themselves, they're just a crazy homeless person on the street. There has to be some kind of backing, but yeah. I agree.
I love how everyone is just.
Hey, you know what, Impy? I do have to apologize for this. I mean, what you're saying about like them just being crazy homeless people on the streets, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I walk through like the streets of Finland, right? Sometimes, right in front of the big train station they have there, you get these old Finnish guys with microphones, and they just stand there and they yell about Jesus, and they tell me, you're all going to hell and the such. The classic like stuff you wouldn't really expect to find nowadays, but you still do, and you get kind of disappointed. Yeah, every time I hear them yelling, you're all gonna burn in hell, submit to Jesus, whatever the hell, I start yelling about
to the Lord.
Well, I mean, I start yelling about Satan really, really loudly. I just walk past them and I yell, "Hail Satan!" and Asmodeus will rule us all, and Lucifer is our one true Lord, And I don't know how they react, because I just power walk past them. But it is one of the highlights of my time in Finland.
Oh goodness, that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
pretty funny. Is it? I mean, I don't particularly agree to the type of evangelism, if you can call it that, what the old guys are doing, and Heck is just having fun with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I suppose that's a way to see.
I am trying to enjoy my
moving back to school systems.
Yes.
There's very competitive, which makes no sense at all, according to Heck. Tyler, thoughts?
Competition.
Thoughts? Well, competition and the school system of competition.
With the current school system, well, you mentioned the difference between Western and Eastern, and well, I'm Western, so As
No, you're
far as
Hawaiian.
I'm lots of things. But
Oh,
the
yes,
beat your little anyway. Competition especially. Well, I see it more as a competition against like the system because you're doing all the tests.
Yes.
That's what I
Yeah.
see as more as the thing that is in the way is all the standardized tests, and not everybody does well with standardized tests. So you're in a competition where if you look in the voice call chat, for anybody listening, go check out our Discord and you can get special graphics along with
Privileges and
this.
stuff.
Special one-on-one time with me where I can yell at you in person.
Yeah. Well,
Show
so
me Discord, it's nice.
link in the description.
Oh.
With all the standardized tests, some people aren't good at it, and some people are naturally going to do better. Some people are just naturally going to do worse because that's not what they're good at. To quote Albert Einstein.
I was going to
Fish.
say, are you going to bring us this
Yeah.
thing?
Well, let's try this as a group exercise. We'll each say one word. We go in order. Tyler, heck me.
Okay.
And we'll see whether we can manage to get the entire saying
Okay. Sure.
because we all know it.
We all know it. Oh, okay. Everybody?
Okay, I'm ready to go. I didn't expect to start with everybody.
What?
Like, I don't know.
Is.
Everybody is.
It's on the image I posted in the voice call chat.
Oh, did you post it?
well.
Are we cheating? Oh, we're doing this behind the scenes. Hee hee tee hee. Nobody will know. Oh, here we go.
Oh, I got it right.
Ah, see,
you
there we
did.
go. Well, I was starting from the second sentence. That's why I didn't start. I didn't consider the first part.
Okay.
I have no idea we're doing this,
Let's
but
try once more.
everybody,
It
Everybody.
is.
A.
genius,
But
If.
you,
judge
A.
fish,
by
It's.
ability,
to
Climb.
a,
mountain
It.
will,
die.
Live.
it's,
Well, actually, die fits as well. Whole.
life,
Oh, sorry. Believing
That.
it,
is.
Dummy-fic.
There we go. Albert Einstein, everybody. Give us a hand.
Yeah, so yeah, as we say, the different quotes, same thing. Everyone is a genius, but they're all genius in their own ways.
yeah.
Standardized tests. What are your thoughts on them? Because we can't completely abolish testing. Because
No,
tests
of course not.
themselves, even if standardized, are pretty cool stuff.
When
Because they tell us what people are good at.
you talk about
Yeah.
standardized tests, you mean like those freaking American tests where you all like
Y'all.
have those like little dots that you fill in and then you put it in that machine and then it reads out like if you got
A
it correct
machine?
or not.
Is that voting?
No,
That's
how they do
no.
voting.
I mean, like, isn't that how
Yeah.
they do it in public schools?
Machine grading, yeah, they've started doing it while I was leaving school.
Started, huh? So my sister, one of my eldest sisters, she was a teacher in the young children, preteens. No, preteens. I think
Just
somewhere around there.
say the ages. Everyone will know what that is in their respective.
But I don't know the exact. Okay, so somewhere between like 12 to 14, 15, maybe something along there.
Well, your
I
sister
think-
has my condolences.
I know, right? And
She has my respect.
I know, right?
Yeah,
But
you're right.
she was grading everything by hand, like looking at their test and marking each paper and all that stuff and giving it back.
I mean,
And
that's
that
how it's
was-
supposed to be done. in my
Yeah.
opinion, at least.
It gives a little bit more personalized
Control.
feedback.
Yeah.
And control.
It also
Yeah.
gives her the ability to become an even greater teacher.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
certainly. I mean, there's so many different aspects of teaching we could discuss even more, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I could go on about how Germany perpetuated this system of
But we're not.
when you became a teacher, you got a special status, which could, I don't know, it basically guaranteed you rent, I believe. And that's why a lot of people became teachers, not to become teachers, but to have rent. And that ain't good.
That's trash. If people don't become a counterpoint, there's an example in Finland or Norway, always those Nordic countries, and becoming a teacher there is one of the hardest studies you can take. It's on the same level as medicine, and it also pays incredibly well, has a great welfare plan, but therefore teachers just have a huge amount of prestige there, which is something I think we could or should implement in most things.
That's so
Because
sweet.
becoming a teacher is not something that's supposed to be easy.
You really wouldn't guess that from looking at how the Finnish people act on the streets.
It might not be Finland, it might be Norway.
Yeah, it probably is Norway.
Yeah.
Norway, man.
I swear to God. Not you too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're also starting.
So what point should we discuss next?
We're discussing standardized tests, and I say we should abolish grading systems. I don't see a point in giving people grades, as in A, B, C, or what. Well, I mean, I would like to discuss whether it's good enough to say you failed, or whether it should just give feedback on what to improve on. Because there is something called yeah, go ahead.
I mean, currently, like you mentioned, we have a bunch of teachers who don't want to be teachers. Why on earth would they want to see the same kid again and again? Like, they're going to kick him out as soon as possible, whether they're ready or not. So,
but they're not going to kick him out. They're just going to let him pass.
Same thing.
Yeah, equally
dangerous. I think you need to propose something other than just no grading, because that's how we determine if you pass or fail a class, and not just the word of the teacher, because the teacher is
who's the one giving out the grades?
Well, in at least in America, I mean, pretty much all the tests for like public schools, not universities. I believe the teacher has more flexibility on courses, but
they have an incredible amount of flexibility.
Yeah. So, but in the public schools itself, a lot of what's taught is regulated. So a lot of the tests are just the same thing, and the teacher doesn't have a lot of impact. They just teach what they're told to teach, and they have room in how they teach it and how they deal with the students, but what they're teaching is still all the same. So all the tests, it's still all the same questions and all the same tests. So
I'd argue that's an even worse system.
It is.
It's pretty bad. But I mean, that's how this system is set up. So I mean, in order to say stop grading, well, that'll make it even worse.
No, I don't think it's going to make it worse.
See, the thing is, I can agree with both of you, right? I mean, I do agree with Summer. Like, we shouldn't have a grading system. I think it's poisoning.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
Degrading people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the issue is I don't know what alternative we could use. And I think that's also what Impy's point is. Like, if we can.
That's how the whole system is built.
Yeah, then how do we determine
how it needs to be built?
Where they go?
So
I agree.
I'm only saying this because I have a precedent, but back in Austria here, for some years, I think it was 1 or 2, we did abolish grades at primary school, and the government at the time planned to move it on and on to high school and to college. However, unfortunately, the next government just undid all of it.
Yeah,
and every psychologist that I've heard of, every source that I've spoken to, is absolutely sure that it's made the system and the entire deal far worse by bringing back grades, but they still did it anyway. And now they're kind of in a place in between, so they do give grades, but apparently those grades don't matter, which is a good start. But I'm saying is we clearly have a working alternative. It has worked. It's just some old people or some people who have their own ideas disagreeing with the system and bringing back grades, which is a terrible idea. because grades are a bad idea in general.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you don't really get graded in real life.
I mean,
exactly, but I mean,
you just manage to do it or you don't. You might excel or fail in some aspects, but overall, what matters isn't did you get more points on finishing the house than the other guy. Is the house standing?
I mean, you do get points. It's called money in that example. If you finish the house better than the other person, you get more money.
Your correction sees the means of production.
I would disagree with that, though. Because I feel like what Summer's leaning into is more so like, it doesn't matter, you know, like at the end of the day, if the house is standing, it's standing, right? But obviously you would pay a person better if they could do it better, you know, and made more adherence to what your wishes were if you were one who wanted a house built, right? Well, then in that case, grades are still unnecessary because it's not up to somebody to judge you and be like, hey, you know, you get this and this many points or this and that many points for like the house you build. It's more so your own personal preference, and it's your own research that you have to do to determine, is this person right for me to build a house? And if they are, you know, is the price that they want justified?
Okay, well, go back a little bit. Can we agree that grading doctors and people who, like engineers, is that kind of important?
Well, I believe,
because I mean, so the question is, like, they have a question on a test. Where is this artery located, and is it okay to cut it? And if they answer wrong, well, they're not told that they're wrong. They're gonna
they're gonna be able to know they're right, but they're not gonna get a specific number of tests. For example, our medicine applications, and I suppose most of them work in a way that you have to take an exam beforehand. And every medical student, that is a total of 5 people, not a large sample size, but they've all told me it's just regurgitating the same stuff over and over, memorizing it without understanding it. And so if they can tell you on their exam sheet, if they can write down, all right, I'll cut this artery at 3/4 lengths and let him bleed for such and such seconds, then administer this and that recipe, right? It's cool if they can write it down, but it doesn't tell you whether they're going to be able to do it in the situation.
And I totally agree.
Yeah, but so no, I say grading engineers and doctors is also not good. It's acceptable. I can see your point. We'll need something more strict for those jobs where precision matters. Where accuracy and precision matter. Yeah. But overall, grades are not the way to go, or they are the way to go, as in they have to go.
I was just going to quickly add on to that. I wouldn't grade the people, right? But when it comes to machinery or medicine, right, you should grade those, in my opinion. Those things need to be graded, because at that point, it's not about, like, you know, the psychological impact of what grading does to you and the way you learn. It's about whether or not what you have made is functioning properly. And if it's not functioning properly, it needs to be changed. And that's just that, you know.
Here's a short overview where this is wrong. You guys know what airplanes are. Big iron things that float.
I am semi-familiar.
You've said in more than all of us combined.
Yeah, probably.
But physicists and engineers have been struggling with the creation of airplanes for ages before we implemented something called chaos theory. Because here's the thing, if you move through air really fast, what happens is you get a chaotic currents behind your wing, and no one had any idea how to calculate this and how to calculate the effect it has. Because if you don't have enough thrust, or if you don't have enough thrust on your engines, so if you're not fast enough, don't have enough power, what can happen is that these currents behind the wing just make you plummet straight away. And that's clearly not something you want to happen at an airplane. But for a lot of years, we had no idea how to calculate these things. So it was just a branch of mathematics or physics that we couldn't explore. And what people did is they just built really big engines so it would fly no matter what happened behind there. And that worked out. So you can't tell me it's always about knowing precisely what's going on. It's the same analogy as the house. We can all agree that it's pretty good. If you do a good job, you can still get feedback, but you should not get a grade. I'll be out for a few minutes because I have to get to the toilet.
Oh.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
let's discuss Summer's lack of education.
Just a short side note, I have Bluetooth headphones and I'm wearing them.
Oh no!
So we're gonna hear we're gonna hear him the whole time.
Oh boy! Christ. Let's see. Well, I mean, I think just a little tangent before Summer comes back, right? Well, we were just touching on a second ago with the doctor thing is the whole debate between, theoretical and practical knowledge, right? Like it's fine and dandy to have like a bunch of theoretical knowledge. Like I could study medicine and I could learn all the arteries. I could learn every, perfect, way to do a surgery, but that still wouldn't mean in any capacity that I would even remotely know how to do them. And I think we underestimate that a lot, that theory doesn't matter as much as the practical skill in the end. And we just often dismiss people who have practical skill but no theoretical like diploma, not theoretical diploma, like diploma in theory.
I could have a diploma in theory, so let me cut open your heart.
For goodness sakes. But yeah, we do dismiss that, and you see that a lot in like more jobs like mechanics, people who never went to like a school to become a mechanic, but let's say their dad was a mechanic and they studied from him and they learned how to be a mechanic from a very young age. Or people who know how to fix cars, and then they charge you for it, but they never went to, I don't know, car fixing school. That's why
a car mechanic.
A car mechanic, yeah. Well, I mean, is there a car mechanic school?
Yeah, so actually, I one of my good friends, he is the guy that my whole family goes to, like when we have just some problem with our work trucks or whatever. And he's one of those person that grew up in the forests of Virginia, and he can fix anything, and his family's house is off grid and all that stuff.
Oh, goodness.
He never took a class for it because he's just worked on every single vehicle in the world at some time or another, and he just knows everything. But he can't get into better jobs just because he doesn't have the specific classes, even though he's probably worked on that same exact stuff before.
And he's probably more qualified, I'd say, than people who have just done the theory and nothing else.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
So what are we taking away from this all? Because what I'm taking right now is that our system of admission is pretty. No, it's not pretty. It's pretty okay, in fact, but it can be improved.
Oh, certainly. I mean, there's so much politics involved in this sort of thing as well.
There's politics involved in everything, which is why it's really important to do not to do politics, but to care about politics and to think about your ideas.
Yeah,
which is something.
I mean, it's nice and easy to discuss these things right now because we're all reasonable, right? Even if we disagree, we can still talk about things. But how would you make this argument in front of like a mob or at a speech or in an actual genuine attempt to convince a mass? Right?
Of course, rhetorics. It's all rhetorics. It's all representation today.
Yeah.
Pathos. These schools are killing our children. Rise up, change it, fight for your children.
I mean, it is
something like that. Personally, I'm not a big fan of fear-mongering politics just because I dislike the direction they're led and are leading us in. They are effective, and it's really hard to do something else. I still advise us all to try something else.
Agreed.
So
yes.
Takeaways, grades are bad.
Well, I think
grades are inefficient is the better term, right?
I'll say bad.
You just say bad straight up?
The biggest problem is that it's, I wouldn't say that, but a large problem is that it's all just theoretical and not experiential, like Heck was just talking about.
Huh?
Heck was talking about it while you were away.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in math doesn't count, but in
Why
a
not?
school that will actually take the kids out and show them what they're learning and like go to the zoo and take field trips and do that extensively, the kids are going to do much better because they actually know what they're studying and they have actually experienced it all. But then
course.
you get to
Tyler, there's a book I'll need you to read.
oh, okay.
Here it comes.
No, it's made specifically the same point as you are making right now. And I think you'll enjoy it. I will start this off with a disclaimer. Not all of the book is something I personally agree with, so I'll conclude that there's parts of the book which you just find ridiculous, because there are some. But there's also really valuable stuff in there, right?
Sure. What book is it?
Do you have something to write? Of course you do, because we're all taking our notes, right?
And we're
Yes.
all, at PCs and laptops.
Yes.
You can take a note with a piece of paper and a pen.
What?
Yeah,
Nobody
it's
taught
even
me this
more
in
efficient
school.
that way. Handwriting note, I presume they didn't.
So the book
Actually,
name. Book name.
book name. Osho, the Book of Children. OSHO.
And the Book of Children.
Indeed. Pretty cool.
I mean,
is this the one you referenced in that podcast that I wasn't here a while ago?
Yeah, it was ages ago. I did reference it.
Yeah. With Heck, yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, even so.
Heck, I want to hook into your joke. Because no one taught you how to take notes at school. And that's right. And that's a really bad thing. You should have a class in school that's about taking notes and learning.
Oh, please. There should be plenty more classes that teach you actually valuable life lessons. I mean, you hear the same argument over and over again. I come home, I say, why do I have to do calculus? Why do I have to do this math stuff? And it's always hey,
I'm studying physics. I'm not asking why. I know why.
Yeah, sure, but at the same time, you always hear the same argument. It promotes logical thinking, That's what people say. And it's just...
Really? They are?
Oh, yeah, that's the argument I hear, at least. And I'm starting to think that it might be a whole bunch of baloney,
Starting to think. Wow.
Yeah.
Took you a long time.
Starting to think. Goodness.
Well, I mean, it's hard, right? It's hard born into the system, and you're surrounded by people who only think this way. I mean, what Impy was just saying about how you have to go out and experience the things and understand what you're actually doing. It's essential to learning, right? And people don't realize how essential it is. I never understood so many things in class because I never understood the link, right? Why am I learning this? What is this for? I can do this calculation, obviously, if I have the formula in front of me, but I don't know what it does, so it's completely useless to me. And if you can't visualize a problem, if you can't understand what you're trying to solve, you are just a machine, and you are just like a factory worker that they're, pumping out. And to be honest, in our modern lifestyles, you'll be completely useless. You'll be at a complete disadvantage to other people.
Indeed.
Who have bothered to go
short heads up, Heck. Yeah. Don't worry about it too much. I also never understood Link. It just says hoo-yah! And I don't think anyone gets that really. The other thing is, what we're referencing right now is something called meta learning, and it is in fact one of the main motivations I have in doing this podcast, because that's one of the ways we as individuals can change things by talking about it to our friends. And in this case, we have a sizable audience, which we hopefully also get something away with this.
Millions and millions of followers.
We don't need millions. 10 is enough. If everyone you talk to, if you just talk to 10 people and get them to think like you, and they do the same, then within, I think it was within a day, we'll change the world. I don't run the numbers, which is what I need calculus for.
Oh. But I mean, I do see, more people listening in. I mean, we can cut this part out because it's not really relevant right now. But I'm just gonna say this, right? I mean, stuff is emotion, right? I mean, I am doing all this
stuff is emotion.
Yeah, because I am doing Instagram and posting comics because I do want a following, but I also do want to draw more people to draw to us, and I want people to come in and listen, and I want, not only the people, our audience, to grow with us, but I want us to grow as well. I feel like this is all fantastic experience, especially for somebody like me, because I would love to make my own videos as well sometimes. So just being here every week and sitting in front of my computer and talking, it is incredibly helpful. I mean, I swear to God, if we went back to our first few podcasts, we'd probably we'd hear a difference, right? I mean, should we do that? Have a little like retrospective
We
episode?
would hear a difference because you guys remember a microphone.
Oh,
You
yeah.
might. Ever so slightly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, guys. I mean, what do you?
Well,
Hmm.
I want to talk more about school systems. What do we propose to change besides getting rid of grades? Do we still do school years?
Well, I mean, why
on the other
not?
hand, I think. Yeah, go ahead, guys.
I mean, why not implement semesters like we have at university? I don't see the dividing point,
Would you guys still do that?
In high school, no, you have a school year, and in middle school as well, you have a school year. And then when you get to university, it's like semesters. It's like, boom, this semester, boom, next semester, right? And I feel like we did something like that, like all throughout, like starting middle school or something like that, that would be great. And we should.
It just moves at a faster pace.
Oh yeah, sure. But why underestimate children? I'm sure they can keep up, and I have complete confidence that they can, right? And not only that,
the best adapted to learn.
Yeah, but
more homework.
No. Actually, screw homework, right?
No, don't screw homework.
Screw homework.
Make it fun.
That is better. Yeah, make it fun. I mean, that's the whole issue with homework, right?
Or schools.
When you're in school and you're feeling so much stress because it is just a competitive environment, and especially when you've been unlucky and you don't have good people around you, then every day will be a struggle. And then to have to go home and then just do more work because some douchey 27-year-old teacher who just came fresh out of partying out of university is throwing her weight around with children, is telling you to do so, you have to do it, and it's just going to demotivate you further. So I mean, Summer, if you can find a way to make homework fun, power to you.
I am. That's one of the things I've been taking from my brain classes.
Yeah, two things really quick.
Sure.
At least in the schools around, we do have summer break, which is like 2.
You all go around and break me. I know. I remember.
2 to 3 months of no school right in the middle of the year. Maybe it's just 2 months, something like that. So it kind of is spring semester and fall winter semester. So there is a break. It's not a full year of school.
Yeah, I mean, that's what vacation is, right? But you get vacations and work, right?
No, you rarely ever do, apparently.
Oh,
I'm really surprised how little vacation people get when they're...
That's another thing we can discuss,
It's around 2 weeks of vacation.
Well,
per job.
The workers again.
Yeah. Well, and the second thing is, you mentioned, Heck, about, the teacher is just bad and gives out bad homework. I mean, that's a thing that happens in every single job ever. There are going to be bad people. So I think we can all agree that if you have a good teacher, your school learning environment is going to be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you have a bad teacher or even like a mediocre teacher, then you're going to not have fun at all. It's not going to be good.
Not as much fun, I'll say.
Yeah.
So I mean,
here's the thing. Oh, go ahead.
Well, if it's not fun, then you as a person are probably going to dig your feet in and not learn much because you're just not going to like it at all. But if it's and then that's going to result in bad grades because you're just always focused on how much you don't like the teacher instead of, man, I appreciate what I'm learning from you.
We can take that a step further, and I think Summer will really like this, which is, I must have talked about this before. You've heard of the Pygmalion effect before, right?
Probably, yeah. I just don't have the name.
You've mentioned it.
Yeah,
you've mentioned it a couple times.
I have mentioned it because it is dear to my heart. Which is, I'm gonna just do a quick little recap here. Pygmalion was I believe Greek sculptor who never fell in love with any woman, and one day he got really sad about that, and he made a beautiful statue. And he fell in love with the statue, and he prayed to the gods and begged and begged and begged that the statue were to come real. And then the gods listened to him, and it did, right? And in short, what happened was he projected, his expectations, his wants, his wishes onto the statue, and they became real. And that's the essence of the Pygmalion effect. Let's say I am a teacher. And let's say I am not. Oh, all right. You know what? Summer, I'm using you as an example now. Let's say Summer is a teacher, right? And
I don't know why he's laughing.
He's gonna say
going. Sure. No, go on.
Summer's a teacher, and me and Impy are his students, right? And yeah, Impy.
Shut up, you little brat.
Guys, this is not a role-playing exercise. This is a proof of concept.
Go ahead.
Here.
Someone is a teacher.
Yeah, Summer is a teacher, and Impy and I are students. And let's say you're like a gym teacher, right? And I'm the fat little artist kid that I am. I eat my candy. I do my drawings. Impy is like this sporty little like kid who kind of looks like, I don't know. Impy isn't black, but let's say he kind of looks like LeBron, right? Like a white LeBron.
God, that's a terrifying image. He looks really sportive.
Both me and Impy walk into class, right? And we play basketball. And the teacher looks at the both of us. Summer looks at the both of us, and he immediately thinks to himself, man, this Impy kid, he's going places. Look at him. He looks like LeBron, but white. He's playing pretty well. And then look at this dopey little heck over here, Like, he's not playing well at all. He's clearly not, as interested as Impy is, And because that Summer has these subconscious expectations and thoughts about us, they impact the way he treats us. So when Impy makes a mistake, Summer is much more inclined to correct that mistake, to give him more time and teach him how to do it properly. Whereas if Heck makes a mistake, Summer is more likely to ignore him because it feeds into his expectation that he is no good. And at the end, this is a horrible, horrible cycle. At the end of the day, Impy is going to improve a hell of a lot more because he's received more care. And Heck is going to worsen in his performance, most likely, because he has received less care from the teacher, which to the teacher just confirms that his original expectations were right, that Impy was meant to go places and do better, and Heck was supposed to do worse. And it feeds this horrible Pygmalion effect, this cycle where it loops around more and more and more. And if you have that in the teacher, like you were saying earlier, Impy, and you just have a bad teacher who you don't enjoy being around, then, and, let's say they don't enjoy being around you either, or have certain expectations of you. You screwed up homework once, and they expect it again. It's going to make your entire academic life just very subtly worse in a most unfair, hidden way possible.
Yeah, it's not equal.
People are unequal. Yes, there is better people and worse people. I agree. We should separate them into a ruling class and a class to.
For goodness sakes.
No, we have indeed talked about this a lot of times, and thanks for bringing it up again, though, in a new way. I'll not repeat it all. Another thing is, you mentioned boredness in a way. So learning is, first of all, remembering. If you learn something and forget it, it was for nothing. There's no point in learning stuff just to forget it.
Oh, yeah.
Second thing, learning is emotion times information. So if you have a strong emotion tied to it, you're going to remember it better.
In theory.
Do you mean that more like the passion
and in
practice with the subject, or?
No, yes, passion is good because it's a positive feeling, and positive feelings are pretty nice.
Mm.
But it can be anything. It can be fun. Fun is really easy to make. And as long as it doesn't border on trauma, you're going to remember it better. It's, as far as I'm aware, not just theory, MP. What leads you to say it's just theory, though? I feel like you've experienced something to the contrary.
I'm almost certain that I've had emotions towards learning something, and I don't remember it.
Oh, yes. The thing is, the stronger your emotions are, the more likely.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, it's like in theory, emotion will help you remember something, but like we're humans. Nothing is ever set in stone.
A few things are, but not a lot.
I think it's pretty much nothing. But
yeah, let's
conversation
not
for another day.
Indeed, we've gotten, I think, 7 new podcast topics out of today's talk already.
Oh, have we?
Yes.
That's what happens when you tap into the inner anger I have about education.
Well, you also have a passion for education, though. And your anger has helped you remember all. The last thing is, if you guys want to learn something, pretend it's the first time you're learning it. Always.
Yeah. What if it is the first time I'm learning?
Well, pretend it is.
Well, what if it's the second time? Do I still pretend like it's the first time?
Yes, you do. Because do you guys know the saying, you never forget your first time?
Yes.
Well, take it.
Oh,
not like that, please. No, not like that. Jeez, no, guys. Consent.
I don't even know what you're talking. Okay.
No.
Wait. Yeah. I agree about the trying to learn. Every time you learn something, try to learn it like you're learning it for the first time.
Yeah.
Partly because when you're learning it for the first time, you're generally learning fundamentals. If you're going about it in a good, educated, nice way, you're learning the fundamentals first, and then you're heading on to the more complex sections of that topic. And then let's say you forget a little bit. Well, you want to go back to the fundamentals. And for me, like learning music theory, forgotten a lot, but it's always good to go back and remember, look at videos and read stuff about the fundamentals, the very basics, because you probably forgot about something. And it's gonna be boring reading all the stuff that you already know. But eventually you're going to find something that you forgot, and it's going to all click in your head, and it'll be like, oh, that's why I'm having trouble and stuff like that.
Yeah, and also if you pretend like it's your first time, it's hopefully not boring. This is a really nice segue into art, doing it all over. It's the first time. Just a short side note. Going back to school.
Going back to school. Oh, is it time to?
We have a lot of new theories. So how are you guys going to implement this in your daily lives now? What are you as an individual going to take as steps in order to get a better education system and get a better society?
Help my kids?
Besides doing the podcast. That's a con out.
Well, I mean...
Give me as many as you like each, and I'll do the same amount.
I mean, we did... sorry. We did touch upon this a second ago, right? But, I mean, me and Summer were both planning to at least be professors in a certain capacity, right? I mean, Summer, is it safe to assume you still want to be a professor?
Oh, I'm torn. Do I want to go into research and theory?
Yeah,
and still do antimatter stuff. I'm not sure. Either way, we'll do it in a turn order. So, Heck, you start. Imp, you go second, I'll go third. And then Heck starts again. We'll see how long we can keep going with things. And here's the thing. I want you to be absolutely confident that you will be able to do this. I want this to be something new. All right, let's do it another way. First round is something we're already doing. Second round onwards is something new we will be doing. And over the course of the next week, I want us all to keep a journal of what we are doing in order to achieve get better education system.
Man, sorry,
that's all right,
bro.
You guys, we could stop after the second round and all just do one thing, and we can do one thing.
Okay, so what's the first one? Something we're already doing.
The first one is something we're already doing.
Something we're already doing. I mean, see, what can I say, right? I'm not doing as much as I probably could, but I don't really blame myself for that, right? I mean, the number one thing I am trying to do right now is to gander, right? I think that's more important right now. And the way I'm doing that is through social media platforms like Instagram and the such. And I want to be able to have a firm grasp on an audience, and like slowly as my audience grows, introduce them to my personality and the way I think and the way I view things like the educational system. And hopefully the more people I can gather around me, the more, word of this sort of thing can spread, and more positivity can come from it, or more, even if it's not like, even if people don't agree, at least we can have more discussions, which will only further the collective knowledge we have and the way we can tackle this grander problem of education.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so.
Something I'm currently doing to combat the system.
I don't think.
You don't need to oppose the system, you just need to use your own good system. You can combat the system if that's something you pick.
If you so choose.
I have no idea, man. I'm out of school. I have no contact with anybody in school. I'm not trying to build up an audience. I'm just trying to not get in contact with anybody.
I have. Oh yeah, for now, right? Because there is something going around with contact.
Yeah.
There is in fact something I know you do, and I know you're passionate about it.
Ah. I agree. I am very passionate about it. Man,
well, it is your Bible study, is it not?
Ah.
I was thinking of other things.
I don't even know how to relate it, because
Are you not? I thought you guys were picking topics for discussion, and each Thursday?
every other Thursday.
Currently,
indeed. Well, I have two Bible studies. One's on Tuesday and one's on every other Thursday.
Right. So on every tea day, you sit together, discuss those things, and try to learn something new.
Essentially,
are you telling me
yeah.
that is not a social way of learning?
I mean, it is, but so I was associating it with what we were talking about before, with the current school system and how we're trying to affect that. I mean, if I can, Bible studies aren't happening in schools generally.
Yeah.
Okay, but so I guess I could relate it to like the parsed down surface level Bible knowledge that a lot of churches do in their Sunday schools, I don't know, in their classes that we have every Sunday. A lot of it is repetition. Like the way that people teach on a corporate church level, like the church will, the head people of the church, whatever it is, if it's your pastor or if it's your elders or
cult leader.
I don't know what cults do. It is entirely possible. They have popes. But like so essentially, generally, you have like a book, a group study book that's written by some, person that's not famous, but some person or some group, and your class does that. And a lot of the time, in my experience, it's just basic questions that you kind of go over again and again and again. It's like, how many times do I need to hear that Jesus is love? Like, I get it. This is part of repetition. Hey, you don't get it because you weren't born in it.
I don't get love. Oh
no. That's because you're not me. I get all the love. No one likes summer.
No one
Jeez.
likes summer? Oh boy.
People like me. They don't love me.
I don't like summer at all.
I think this is derailing into a different podcast.
I like fall. I like fall and winter. Maybe
There
even
we go.
spring.
I can fall down. I can fall a lot of things.
Okay, even so what I'm doing on my Bible study is I'm just trying to learn all the stuff that they didn't emphasize and teach. Yeah.
And you do
I
that
mean, I
with your
guess-
group. Also, you don't need to relate this. Learning is not just the thing you do in school. You learn
I
all
didn't
the time.
I didn't know it was all about learning.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's always about learning, MP.
In
Why
fact, it
didn't
is.
I was never
Educator
taught
was
that.
Self-growth.
The irony.
Now you were. And you're still young.
Right,
Go on,
summer.
enjoy your youth. Yes.
It's up to you now, right? Here's the last one.
What I'm doing right now is crying because MP doesn't like me. Also,
Welcome.
I'm doing this podcast.
Hey, you said no using the podcast.
But I have a bunch of friends, for example. So what I'm doing is actually trying to get as much information towards my friends and get their feedback. For example, my best friend, who is unfortunately living in Switzerland, but he is someone I've made a kind of agreement with,
Totally.
which is that we both get up at 5:30 in the morning, which is a great thing to do.
It's not me at all.
No, it's not you. And we both do our morning exercises. Try to read per week, which I'm not going to be able to do this week or the next week or the next month because I'm reading Kant, and he's a cunt.
Oh boy.
Well, no, he's a. I can't say anything about him as well. Writes really hard stuff, fortunately. And then I have to reread it a bunch of times before I get what he wants to say, because it's freaking sentences take up a half page or more. But yeah, that's what I do with him, and we also fervently discuss philosophy and politics. And he will, by the way, be on the podcast eventually.
Eventually, oh boy.
Yeah, probably next year, because podcast is planned out.
Oh yeah, oh Christ. Guys, behind the scenes, there's a lot more planning than I will ever be aware of. I mean, I have all the documents.
I like how you're saying not a lot more planning than you will be aware of.
Yeah.
I will be aware of. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to all of my other friends as well and trying to talk to them about the information I've gotten, get it feedback. So that is what we're doing right now. And now one thing that we all are going to start doing the next week, and we're not going to finish recounting. We're going to keep doing it. So pick something you feel comfortable with. Heck.
What was this? We're gonna do something next week? What?
No. Starting today. No, not today.
Yes.
It's starting today for MP because it's still morning, and tomorrow for us. No, that's unfair.
What?
Starting tomorrow, we will all do something to either emphasize good learning or to help people to learn better, or to make learning more social, more fun, or to change something about the school system right now, in order for us to get our vision into the world, to make the world a better place for people, for learning. What are you going to do?
God, now I have to think of something to do with garbage. I just, goodness sakes, I just wanted to complain about school, and now I'm being roped into summer's crazy school
You can't change something just by complaining.
I know. I'm just yanking on your
I
chain.
know.
I don't know. I guess I do have our channel open in other servers, my own server, or those kinds of places where you do see a lot of artists making a lot of beginner mistakes. So I guess I could start lurking around there and jabbing them with a stick when they do something wrong.
Is that something you want to do?
I mean, it is fun, because it is just the mistakes I used to make. So it's pretty easy to correct.
Yeah, do you feel like you can take out the time to do it and also not overdo it?
I mean, it depends, right? Because it is more so a number two situation sort of thing. You can like arrange lessons because I don't think I have the capacity to teach right now either like mentally or like with time wise either.
Yeah.
But
So why not focus on those?
On what?
On your
Expanding my
capacity.
capacities?
Sure.
Well, sure. I mean, I'd have to learn.
Give me something you're going to start doing over the next 7 days, and you'll keep doing for probably the rest of your life.
Drinking tea at 5 p.m.
Tell me how that would help you, or how this would improve.
I would like a cup of tea. I don't know. So you're asking.
I'm asking you to make a commitment to your thoughts because we all agree. Well, that's not something I personally want to watch keep going. I want to change it. So I'm going to make a commitment to do something over the next 7 days because now after I say it, I'll write it down because it makes me commit to it. And I will ask you guys to do the same.
And then I'll have like a better idea what I can.
Tyler, do you want to go first or should I?
I have no ideas. Go on, Summer.
Oh, goodness. So, starting next week, it's less than it's a Monday, I will apply to be a tutor. If I do not get a tutoring job, I will start giving classes for free.
On physics.
So, to my youngerish friends who have expressed some level of interest in something I know about, be it philosophy, physics, math, psychology, some of these things, and I will start taking one or more of these people and helping them improve in some area of their life. Now, what I would really love to do is to take you, Heck, and start doing the brain exercises if you have the time. But
there you go. That's the.
Do you have 30 days, and can you promise me you'll do the two things which are necessary? That is, you will show up every single day. You're not going to miss a single day. And the second thing being that you will do whatever we're doing on the day, so that you will commit to it.
Oh boy, I mean, sure, but maybe let's not start tomorrow because I still am feeling tired and sick.
We will start when you feel like starting. At that point, it's game. You get one chance to do it. And in the meantime, I will just teach friends of mine something else. And I'll try to keep that up for the rest of my life. Next 7 days, I'm going to note it down specifically.
Everybody right now. Together for summer, though. I mean, commitment boy. I can, yeah. It is impressive, though. With like, not joking here, to be able to commit to these kinds of things.
Oh, nice! I'm a very impressive person. So are you.
I thought you were already tutoring.
Yes, but it was just as a side job for a friend, so I wasn't doing it regularly.
Yeah, it was like a temporary thing. Now it's gonna expand, I suppose.
Yes,
into more of a permanent thing. Yeah.
You know, I have been doing too much collecting of information.
So you're gonna start the Summer Khan Academy.
Yes.
If Summer can't do it, nobody can.
And that will be your slogan.
Yes, because clearly I am a Michelangelo.
What can I know? I'm still racking my brain here. What I can do.
Something you guys want to commit to. Maybe it's something you've been for a long time and you've always pushed it off for later. Now you have a chance to do it. You just need to worm your way around so it sounds like it's got something to do with improving education and learning.
Oh, well, I mean, the only thing I can think of right now, I bought a Udemy course on the basics of art, and I've been doing it for a long time. And when I say I've been doing it for a long time, I mean I've been taking no lessons for 3 months, and then one lesson again.
All right. So your commitment will be to start learning art and practicing it daily?
The worst. I suppose I have to, right?
Cool.
We're gonna do daily check-in.
Write it down right now.
Where do I write it down? Physically?
Yes.
I have a post-it right here, actually, so I'm gonna
Gouge
get
it.
real close to the microphone as well. Hold on, let's see.
Do not
No.
tell him to gouge things. You
Okay.
know what he's
So-
like.
Gouge it.
Please.
Gouge it into your arm.
Let me just
No.
No.
daily. Can you hear the pen, guys? Like the. Hold on.
Yeah.
No, stop. Stop.
Let me.
Just stop.
Okay, I'll do the sound effects.
All right, here we go. It's just. Yeah, do you hear that? Daily. Udemy.
I'll be back in a second.
Are less fun.
All right.
There you go. That should do it.
Cool. Tyler, it's your turn, my boy. Who is he?
He's left because the microphone was too much for him.
No, I think he's left because he's terrified of not coming up with something.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Are you guys done?
We're
Yes.
done. Yeah.
Oh, good. So what was
You're
happening?
not done, though. You're gonna tell us what you picked.
I promise on this day to devote my life to improving the lives of people and the state of my country.
Which is
And
where's
how
he?
will you do it?
Track him down.
I promise to not contribute. I have nothing. Like, I have nothing.
Do you have
don't-
nothing you want to do or nothing you can think of?
Nothing I want to do, or because like I could do a lot of things that will not contribute to the education system.
Indeed.
And if I thought that was part of it,
Well, are you telling me you do not have anything planned or had anything planned that you've told yourself to do later?
get a drink,
And you have
go
nothing.
to the bathroom,
You have nothing that you want to catch back up on.
catch
That's
back up.
really impressive.
I think Summer is not just speaking about education, or so
And maybe
broader
speaking
sense.
about education, but setting the foundations so you can do something in the far future is also part of it.
I mean, I'm already practicing my instruments. I'm singing every day. I'm managing a company. I'm eating.
Eating is important.
Drinking too.
I mean, eventually I want to go back to college and learn a bunch of stuff, but
So what stuff do you want to learn?
Which college do you want to go to?
what stuff don't want I to
What stuff do you
learn?
want to learn at college?
It'd be easier to say what I don't want to learn.
That's fine.
And hard things are good practice.
I don't really want to learn chemistry.
I want to hear what you want to learn. One course, pick it.
One course.
Yes.
One Piece. Do.
One course. I have no idea because I can't even devote the time at the moment. Well,
How come? You're working 8 hours a day?
it's like let's go with 11. Generally, now that the
11
spring
hours
season
a
is
day.
around, it's around from like a 7 to 5, 7 to 6 thing that my time is taken up.
76.
So I come home and I like eat and then maybe practice an instrument.
Yeah.
And maybe edit a podcast and then go to sleep. Something along those lines.
Have you thought about lucid dreaming?
I have.
Have you tried it out?
I did for about a month or so, a little while
Did it
back.
work?
It didn't work.
So there's something you can do.
I can start lucid dreaming. Man, I had a dream last night that I don't remember.
See, go ahead. Do you want to lucid dream? I should learn lucid dreaming. I should really learn lucid dreaming. Yeah.
I thought you were.
No.
Okay.
It's on the list of things I'm pushing back right now.
Ah.
Because I don't have enough motivation. But if one of my friends were to do it and tell me how awesome it is, that'd be motivation for that.
Man, good luck with that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the one guy I know right now, and we all know what taking a break means with these things.
I mean, I guess I could. I don't know.
I mean, it'd be a nice experiment, you know.
Lucid dreaming? I'm not sure.
What are you unsure about?
Because part of it is that you were talking about making the education system better. And I know you were talking about just doing what we can for ourselves to make ourselves better. But that's just who is doing that?
That's our boy Summer, I think.
Okay.
No idea what you're talking about.
Is he sharpening a knife?
Yeah.
I beg your pardon.
Okay, then.
Carry on.
It's all for myself, and it's not doing anything.
Wait,
for anyone
are you
else.
telling me?
That learning to lucid dream would not benefit anyone but me.
Yes.
And I don't particularly have much motivation for that type of activity.
Okay, is it because it's not doing something for anyone else, or is it because you really you don't have any motivation to lucid dream, right?
Both?
All right. How about reading one book per week then?
I just finished the first book of the first law. I just started the second one.
No, not prose. Prose is for fun on the main part. It has
This is not
incredibly
fun.
deep. It's not. Prose is more for fun than study. No, it's not even more for fun. Prose is just. I will say it's easier to read than highly. Not diluted. What's the opposite of diluted?
Concentrated.
Concentrated. Thank you. And highly concentrated or highly focused books. You guys do know what I'm talking about? The difference between stuff that's written as a story and stuff that's just written as, for example, a physics textbook or a collection of philosophy by Kant.
Of course. I mean, there's some overlap though.
There's always overlap, but there is there is definitely stories which you enjoy reading and do as a pastime to relax and recover from stress, which is, don't get me wrong, it is important as anything. So I want to ask you, MP, to pick up a book about psychology, philosophy, maybe maths.
Well, now I'm not doing it. I think about
Gosh darn millennial.
2 weeks ago, I was like, man, I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yep.
It's good stuff, but
No.
No, it is. But yeah, I had stuff, and I was like, hey, I should read a book. Because I don't, like I mentioned, I read the first law, but I don't read books.
That's the first thought. I just had to remember.
They tend to put me to sleep nowadays. Unfortunate.
Because they're
but
boring,
I
or because you lack.
Because I start reading and then I'm stop moving my body and then I fall asleep.
And then it becomes.
That's on you. Why aren't you reading standing up?
Because I don't know if you guys know this, but I can't look down.
That's good. You can put your book up.
You
Exercise.
can't look down.
Also, I had
Yeah.
no idea.
I believe it's a couple vertebrae fused in my neck.
Ooh.
So you can't look down. What is this lore drop that you could have? What?
Yeah,
I can't-
That's
my-
the deep term.
My skull and my neck can't tilt down. Like, so they're at a flat level right now, and they can't go. Like, I can't put my chin down.
Can you look up?
Can you look to
Yeah.
the side?
Yeah, I can look up to the side, around, but you if you put your head about straight, like looking straight ahead,
Yeah.
and you put your neck down, like I can't do that.
You know that first Christopher Nolan Batman movie?
I think so.
Yeah, in that movie, they made the costume too stiff, so the only way for
Ah.
Batman to turn his neck was to turn his entire upper body.
Yeah, that's me.
Is that you?
That
What,
is
you were
me.
Batman?
Yes,
Oh,
that is why. It's not because I had spina bifida and scoliosis.
so
Man, giving y'all a bunch of new information today.
yes, you are, and I
But-
also still remember your face.
Thank you. I guess I don't.
It's a nice face. I like it.
I got a nice face, sir.
There you go, there you go. There you go.
I ain't
Nice.
scaring
Well,
many
real
children these
honesty.
days. So anyway,
Yeah.
part of reading for me is that, like, I have to be laying down. That's the only
No.
comfortable position. Because
You know
Arms
what a
up.
standing desk is?
I'm not buying one. I don't have room for that. I'm not going to spend money on that.
You can literally put a bunch of other books at your desk and have a standing desk.
I feel like we're derailing from the original conversation here. I totally forgot.
We are not. We're looking for something imperfect. Unless, of course, he's telling me now he does not want to do this with us.
Well, no. So what I was saying before is that I was going to read a book every day. So I started reading a couple, and then I was like, man, I'm falling asleep here. So I was pretty much deciding that I have on my desk currently, I'm looking at them right now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Oh, man.
8, 9. I have about 9 textbooks on my desk right now, you know, ranging from biopsychology to cognitive development and the dictionary of sociology. I was very, very strongly considering picking those up because, you know, reading normal books, I was just thinking, wow, I should be reading a textbook right now because normal books just don't do it. So sure, I'll read a couple textbooks.
Sure, read a textbook. Pick one. Which one?
Blah, 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 blah. That one.
What's it called?
Wait, let me see if there are any others around here. I have quite a few textbooks. Hum diddly dum. Let's see what that one. I'm trying to figure out. Maybe biopsychology.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me get it. Let me move stuff out of the way. Crash. See, the problem with these textbooks is that they're probably a little old. Biopsychology 4th edition,
Ooh.
published in, oh boy, this is old.
How old?
I believe that's a 1990.
Oh, boy.
See, my grandmother she was a therapist, I believe, something along those lines. So
naturally, she had biochemistry books lying around in her house.
quite a few years ago, she moved to a smaller apartment or something like that, and she got rid of a bunch of books. And I was like, "Yo, biopsychology, bro, that looks awesome!" And I saved it, and I didn't read it. But So biopsychology, it's a discipline of neuroscience. Yeah. And it looks quite interesting. But it's 30 years out of date. I don't know how.
You can
Yeah.
still take stuff out of it. So next week you're gonna be through the book. Tell us something funny from the book.
Something funny from the book? Oh,
Yes.
Next week?
Yes. You know you're gonna be finished next week.
I don't know how funny you're gonna find things in a biopsychology textbook.
You can present
Absolutely hilarious.
Haha, the sensory motor system. Like, am I right?
Oh yes.
Neuroplasticity. It'll be like, okay.
Neuroplasticity is in fact funny.
Development, learning, and recovery from brain damage.
All right. You'll be able to do some comic and have fun reading your book. Heck, have fun doing whatever you noted down.
I won't.
Oh yes, retaking your art course. Have fun learning the fundamentals. Which I should do that. And Summer has stopped having a headache. Good night, everybody. As for our is there something you guys still want to talk about? Because we're about 2 hours in.
See, my cold is hitting its zenith, so I'm probably gonna go grab a cup of tea and just lie down.
Yeah, I think you should recover, take some care of yourself. Heck, no, that's right. Impy, why is your name changed? Why is everybody Heck? Yeah, why is your mic changed to Heck? Your nickname?
Because it's Heck's old Mike. What?
Yeah, do you have something you want to say?
So, Summer, give us a question for our listeners.
Oh boy.
Shooting the balls. I like that. Dear listeners, we have all picked something that we are going to do over next week to get our ideas out into this world. And I think that's really important for everyone to do. So tell us, what are you going to do over the next month in order to live a better life or to achieve whatever you want? What's your next big plan? Tell us down in the comments. And in the note of that, I hope you've all had a blast and fun taken from this. And have a lovely evening.